so many artists, particularly theater artists, are drawn to theater because it seems to be a synthesis of all the artistic products that they enjoy, right? Because where else would you be able to like have room for Mitski and Frank O'Hara and, you know, and Ben Lerner? And yet what we find is that the avenues whereby we are able to express our impulses are actually quite limited, right? Like we get into theater because it's so broad, and yet the theater that ends up consumed is so very narrow.
It's like, yeah.
All right. Well, this has been great.
Yeah, I mean, like, but doesn't it feel like there are these like shining and special examples that like poke through? Like, like ultimately, yes, like certain types of plays are unbelievably popular because people just sit back and they just are comfortable the entire time. Like, and I love watching movies like that. There's nothing wrong with art like that. It's funny, like, yeah, it makes you kind of wonder how Slave Play, how Heroes, how Mr. Burns, how The Flick, like how these special plays just like somehow get through and sometimes even get incredibly popular. Like it feels basically like sometimes people don't know that they this is I feel like a little cliche, but people sometimes don't know that they want something challenging until they get it.
And I think that every artistic director would agree with you, is that, you know, on the one hand, we send surveys asking audiences like, well, what do you want? And on the other hand, we know that they don't know what they want until they see it. And so we are sort of obligated to provide them with both what they know they want and also with what they might not know that they want.
100%.
And so I feel like some writers like you are sort of like, well, I'm going to be in the category of things they might not know they want yet. And I really hope that one of them lands. And I really hope that one audience member watches like, oh shit, I want this.
Yes. I keep saying as a joke that my retirement fund is going to be writing a musical called like The Special Rockin' Guys that's going to be about Billy Joel, all the Beatles, and all the Rolling Stones having an argument about what's better, the 60s or the 70s, because that is something that people know they want. And that is actually to kind of like to do a kind of a callback or come back to what we were talking about earlier, something that I love. The best and the worst thing about Chicago is that there's no money there. And like, and it's the worst in terms of the fact that people can be horribly exploitative, you know, work themselves to death for literally no money, spending money to make theater. But the best thing is that since no one's going to give you a Netflix show, no one's going to put you on the cover of the New York Times, no one's going to put you in, you know, W Magazine, you are surrounded by a lot of other people who want to make the thing that people don't yet know what it is.
I mean, if you're going to work in Chicago, you have to mean it.
That's a beautiful way of saying that.
And what are your hopes for theater when we come back? If we come back.
The things that I wish for theater are a little bit are potentially pipe dreams, but what I wish is for a huge increase in government funding, both to theaters and to specific artists, so that artists can live like healthy, sustainable lives. What I wish is for universal healthcare and Medicare for all, so that artists can go to the dentist, so that they can get screened for cancer, so that they can go to the doctor, so that they can get physical therapy when they get injured in a show. Like, what I wish is for like funding for theater that doesn't come from like Shell Oil and Comcast, like, because no matter how many brilliant, incredible playwrights and actors and directors are like given opportunities finally or are able to make their own paths, if theater is still determined by boards and corporate interests, there is a limit to like what can actually happen. And then also it is clarified for me that like, yes, I absolutely can live without theater, but it's not nice. I don't like it, and I really will not take the experience for granted, and I hope that that kind of new awareness of how sacred and life-giving theater is, I hope that every Zoom reading can be in the back of our minds at all times as like a memento mori while we're like, when we get to be in the rehearsal room for the first time, like, because it really is like, it is so singular and unlike anything else.